Hi, Chris and Eliza. Welcome. Thank you for sitting down with me today. I'm really grateful that you're here to share a bit more of your story. Congratulations on getting married recently and now pregnant with twins. I'm thrilled for you both. And, this is the reason that I do this work, making beautiful couples and families like you. So let me ask you, when you came to Elite, what was going on for you in your dating history? Had you been meeting people through any other avenue? What was that like?
I certainly wasn't having much luck beforehand. It was a lot of just spending courage, trying new things with, like Tinder for the first time in the, year-ish before I tried you guys. It was more about, the emotional journey for me, kind of getting to the point where I was ready for a relationship. And then discovering that this existed was kind of a source of optimism for me as well. I was like, okay, this could give me that the way that it offers a sort of high weight kind of like support to the first interaction was appealing to me. And I think I was right that really worked, because I was like, I got your recommendation, not just a computer's, that it was, worth investing a bunch in getting to know someone. And you picked very well.
And Eliza, what about you?
Well, I decided to take a bit of a break from dating in my late 20s, early 30s. I think I was just kind of fatigued by the whole process, honestly. And yeah, just spent a couple of years really trying to figure out what it was that I wanted from a partner and what I wanted to be able to give to a partner as well. And by the time that I sort of got back into the dating process, I was at a stage in my career where I was really professionally fulfilled, but I was working quite a lot. I was volunteering. I had a pretty full life and, friends that I love. And the amount of time involved in dating was just so exhausting. It really was. And I felt like I was using the apps, but I was having the same conversation with people. And I think the process of kind of trying to figure out, is this person someone that is looking for the same things that I'm looking for, and at the same stage of life, and are they open to a relationship, and what are their values? It honestly felt like a lot of pressure having those conversations with people and not wanting to waste their time or waste my time. And it was just really fatiguing. It felt like the process of buying my first house, right? You go through this process and you do your research and you want, you have an idea that you want something to happen. And so, it's an exciting thing and you get excited about it. But it is, just fatiguing and exhausting to go through that process. And I think I had accepted that if it was my responsibility to keep doing all of that work and to find someone who would be a good fit for me that way, it was probably not going to happen. And I was also just at a stage where I'd had a really great year at work. I'd been given a very generous bonus. And I was kind of like, I want to do something fun for myself. And I was like, should I buy an expensive handbag? Should I go on a holiday?
Should I get a matchmaker and outsource?
Yes. And when I looked at my life, there was there's nothing else I really want to spend my money on than giving myself the best chance I can at finding the person that I would want to spend my life with. And yeah, it was, I tell people all the time, it was the best investment I ever made. I think for me, I'd met up with people on dating apps, right? That one of them, lovely, intelligent psychologist, great guy. We met up for brunch and he was like, okay, I should tell you, I am polyamorous. I'm in a... And look, it was a fun date. I was like, look, this isn't for me, but tell me everything. How do you manage the logistics? But I think every woman has that story of going on a date with someone and it being like, this is a waste, this is the waste of everyone's time. And I just think the idea of being able to go on dates with someone who has decided to invest in their ability to find a life partner, I think probably gave both of us a sense of already knowing that the person opposite you is at a stage in their life where they are looking for something that could potentially lead to a lifelong relationship, and they are wanting something similar to what you're looking for. And I think the fact that like we got so much information about what the values and the life and the priorities and the goals of the other person was, it meant that we didn't have to kind of do that almost interviewing process that you do
Right.
when you go on a first date with someone.
Because you guys have done so much of that work of detecting compatibility in advance, then when we first sort of meet each other, we can focus on rapport, and it's sort of a more relaxing process. You don't have to do as much of that like testing. Like there's a conflict between the two modes in a sense, right? Like detecting whether someone is a compatible life partner and just relaxing into rapport building is very different. And I certainly value getting to that French restaurant and being like, just being able to sort of enjoy being present with you and learning who you are emotionally.
Yeah. And genuinely just relax and enjoy getting to know someone else. In a way that honestly was I had so much fun.
Yeah,
I had so much fun on our first date, just getting to know you and hear what you think. And I think so often when we go into a first date, we're kind of on our best behavior. It's almost like you're going into a job interview. You're trying to bring this version of yourself. And I think, that just the structure of the date made it so much more relaxed and a lot of fun, and allowed us to spend more of our attention learning the things about each other that ultimately ended up being the reasons that we fell in love with each other.
Yeah, there's something about the way that it is. There's already enough of an investment in this being worth doing in the first interaction. That like in contrast to what can happen with the Tinder model, where there's that feeling of it's like a unproductive kind of abundance mindset can occur, where it's like there's all these other people that like maybe will work better, and it's easier to kind of like use cheap filters to say, well, maybe this person won't work, and like that can resonate with like emotional insecurities that are trying to, push away someone. And so like if you've got that investment created by someone that is, like an expert at detecting compatibility, then it's easier to go into it just sort of like bringing your whole self to that, discovery of compatibility emotionally.
And something kind of funny that we've talked about, since we've been married, is the fact that we probably wouldn't have been able to recognize each other as a highly compatible partner if we had met each other.
Our cheap filters would have excluded each other if it was through Tinder or something, I think.
And I had an idea of what kind of partner I was looking for that turned out to be completely not the sort of person that makes me feel fulfilled and challenged and happy. And I think me being a little bit more marketing arts creative background was probably not who you thought you would end up.
I had sort of some subtle preconceptions that were just like it's sort of just a distance in on that front that had me like in many ways the fact that you have such a different mode of intelligence than me has been such a big part of the strength of our relationship. But it also meant that it would have been harder to recognize without that nudge that you guys gave to, crossing that distance initially.
What did you think you might be able to find at an agency that you couldn't find elsewhere?
It's perhaps not a specific one variable where going through an agency, I would expect to find someone that I couldn't find elsewhere. More that the intersection of attributes that I cared about, where it's like meeting all the constraints, or like finding someone who's, really intelligent and like emotionally intelligent and beautiful and like, has like the sort of qualities that I would want for, sharing a life as an equal, with another person. Like it would be, and I experienced it being hard to find multiple sort of attributes that are exceptional in one person. I could find really high IQ women, but that it would be difficult to connect with them emotionally. And finding women that are beautiful, but that I wouldn't relate to very much intellectually. It's a combination, of sort of a few different rare attributes that I was hoping that an agency like this might kind of help me to reach, where it's like a needle in a haystack problem.
I think that resonates for me too. I feel like the challenge I had at that point of my life with dating was that I was so happy. Obviously, I feel like we're at a stage in our lives where I'm a lot more happy and fulfilled than I was at the time. But I think when you get to a stage in your life where you do really like who you are and you like your life, you're not really prepared to compromise with a partner. You're not really prepared to bring someone into your life unless they're really enriching and supporting and challenging and fulfilling the ambitions and the aspirations that you have. And so I think I probably did have quite high requirements that I was looking for about who I wanted to share my life with. And so I know we just spoke about intellectual curiosity. It was one of the things that was on the top of that list. But I think someone who was just really engaged in the world around them, someone who I was excited to get to talk to and to share ideas with, and someone who was really like open-minded and open-hearted as well, and really interested in understanding and exploring our lives together was what I was looking for. And that's it's actually quite a big ask from someone. I think you need to really have gotten to a place in your life where you've been fortunate enough to do a lot of self-reflection, to be in that headspace. And I felt like someone who would choose to go through an agency like Elite was statistically more likely to be at that stage where they were looking for a relationship that was going to complement and enhance where they were in their lives.
You felt it was a strategic move, that this is where my people are going to be.
Yeah, definitely. And I think that was like the challenge I feel like I had with the dating process is going on dates and just being really aware that this is, I went on dates with people I met on the apps who were lovely people, but who were just in such a different place in their life and in terms of what they were looking for and where they were at emotionally. And it honestly did feel kind of futile trying to date through that process. It felt like looking for a needle in a haystack. And I guess I felt like if I was like myself as, hopefully somebody else's needle in a haystack, I thought going through an agency was a good idea. And I thought there would be more needles going through Elite. I think I was so impressed by the whole process, really. Chris was the 5th person that I went on a date with. But I really did find everybody I was matched with was, at least on paper, someone who had a much higher level of compatibility with me and much similar values and goals, and was someone who was certainly a better match than probably anyone I found by going through that process of like going speed dating or going on the apps or putting it out to friends that I'm open to being set up on dates. So even the people that I went on dates with and I was like, well, this just, it doesn't feel like we're connecting in the way that I want to. They were still really impressive, intelligent, interesting guys. So I was like, honestly, before I met Chris, I was still telling people that I was very impressed with the process.
I love it. Awesome. So looking back, what were the early signs that this was going to be something special? Do you have a memory of a moment or something?
The very starting kind of conversation we had was about The Wheel of Time, which is a fantasy epic that I had read as an adolescent, and like
it is the longest published work of fiction. It's over 4 million words, right?
Yeah.
So I'm up to book 11. But I'd started reading Wheel of Time.
When we had like a philosophical discussion about the relationship between the Wheel of Time and sort of real history and stuff. And look, that was just really precious. It was a sort of point of it was it's been a treasured part of my own journey, that story, and And it was clear that there's something compatible there, in that you're enjoying the same sort of type of fiction and a sort of type of experience.
You had something immediately to bond
It
on.
was something to bond over right away.
It was kind of funny actually, because I wouldn't usually say, "Hello, I'm Eliza. I'm a huge nerd. I'm really into sci-fi and fantasy."
But were you carrying the book or something? How did we
No,
find out?
I asked you what you were reading. I asked you if you were reading anything at the time. And
But I wasn't reading Wheel of Time.
you were not reading anything at the time, but
Okay.
you asked me what I was reading.
Okay.
Yeah.
That's how. Yeah, I mean, I suppose that's a natural way for that.
Yeah,
conversation.
we had a reading from the Wheel of Time at our wedding because it has been. Yeah, it was.
Special part of our
It
lives.
was honestly like that was a moment on the first date where I think we both kind of like recognized something in each other and sort of let that guard down of, being kind of like, I am on a first date. I'm on my best behavior. I'm going to hide, I guess, the nerdier, dorkier parts of myself in the background. For a first date, I think once that happened, we were like, yeah, I feel like I knew, honestly. We had the best first date. We were out until it was a very
6
early
hours
dinner.
or so?
I think it was 7 hours. I think we left it. We had an early 6 o'clock dinner and then we went home at 1 because
We were still chatting.
yeah, we're still chatting. It was a very special first date. We count our anniversary, or like the anniversary from when we started dating, as that first date.
Oh, that's beautiful.
Yeah, I think we both knew.
Yep.
That's amazing. Okay, so let's get down to the good stuff. Please set the scene for the proposal. What happened?
This could be an embarrassing one for me because
Chris didn't know that people would ask, how do you propose?
so I did a sort of more intimate version of this event than I would have done if I had Salient. I'm going to have to share what I did to everyone. So we were in Tasmania on like going to Mona. Was it?
It was
The winter one?
the winter solstice. Dark Mofo.
Dark Mofo. And I had prepared 2 cards and a amethyst ring that was my. You had your grandmother's ring, and she kind of shared with me already that she knew what ring she wanted to sort of use.
It felt like we might be on the track to getting engaged, and so I had just let him know, just in case you want to propose.
But also, making sure you got.
Grandma's engagement ring, so please don't find me an expensive or fancy ring.
So I found something that felt symbolic without it being this sort of the actual wedding ring sort of style. But an amethyst still feels like a resonant gemstone.
It's my birthstone as well.
Oh, I never knew that.
Yeah.
Wow. So I got 2 cards because I couldn't decide between the 2 different moods. There was one that was like kind of a beautiful floral one, and another that was a princess, like a child's, princess card.
It was very cute.
And I wrote.
Oh, it was my birthday.
It was.
Sorry,
Yeah.
we were in Tasmania because it was my birthday.
And this was part of my plan. Was like, it also the fact that it was the 19th, and we met on the 19th. Your birthday's on the 19th, and like we got married on the 19th. All of different months. But it was like symbolism was what I was looking for, as opposed to kind of like a public event.
And maybe
so it was
having to remember too many anniversary dates.
That's touche.
That's very smart.
So I got up on the morning of her birthday and presented her with 2 different cards to choose which to read first. And while she was reading the second card, I got down on my knee and was waiting with them at this ring. And it was a very intimate moment as opposed to like a spectacle moment, but it felt right.
It was beautiful. It really was. It was perfect.
Tell us about your wedding day. What was the thing that you loved the most?
Eliza forgetting to take Jim's hand on the way.
Yes, I am.
That was a delightful event.
So we got married down at Portsea Hotel because we live by the beach. We love the ocean. And Mornington Peninsula has been kind of a special part of our relationship. We go down there quite often. And so we got married at Portsea Hotel, and I had just the most beautiful morning on my wedding day. The bridesmaids and my mother-in-law and my mum stayed over, and just was feeling so loved going into this moment of walking down the aisle. And my father passed away a few years ago, and so my Uncle Jim, who I've been very close to my whole life, walked me down the aisle. And we'd done the whole wedding dress rehearsal and everything. And I was very excited to have him walk me down the aisle because he's been a big part of my life. And I don't know, I came out and I saw Chris, and I just walked right past Uncle Jim. I just forgot everything and just saw Chris and just wanted to walk to him. That was...
It was a very special.
It was actually really...
And just the way that you laughed and just, you know, like he had to tap you on the shoulder.
He sort of like chased after me. Yeah. And I think honestly that kind of just like
helped lighten the mood.
Yeah, it took the pressure off the wedding day. It just made it feel like, yeah, we're all just here to have like a fun time.
That was special. And I mean, the actual main ceremony, I felt there was a lot of nervousness for me throughout the day, but I also felt like it created that sense of meaning that the ritual is supposed to create. And you know, I just remember kind of getting into that mode of just being confident about, like, you know, this is a woman I want to spend my life with. It's so yeah, the ritual itself and just the ceremony of like speaking the vows felt powerful to me.
All right, now tell us about the day that you found out that you were expecting and that you're expecting twins.
Wow. Okay, so we both really knew that we wanted children before we met each other, I suppose. And volunteering with kids had been a big part of both of our lives in different ways. Chris had been volunteering with Mensa, with their Gifted Children's program for, gosh, it was probably 5 years before we met. Yeah.
2017 to 4 years, yeah.
Yeah, and I had been volunteering in a program called Story Dogs for my little French Bulldog Winston, and I would go and read to kids who needed, would go to primary schools, and kids who needed a little bit more practice reading would get to read to Winston. So I think, you know, we always knew we wanted to be parents. And we started trying pretty much right after the wedding. And it was one of those things that, like, you know, when you make a decision that you want something, and, you know, you feel like you do everything right and it's not happening, it does feel a little bit like, what's going on? What am I doing wrong? And the whole process of trying to get pregnant sort of made me confront the fact that, like, I actually don't put myself in situations where I fail as often as I probably should. But so we were trying pretty much after we got married, and found out we were pregnant. It was just before Christmas, actually. It was like maybe 2 weeks before. Yeah, well, I think 5 months, but yeah. It really wasn't.
I think the fact that there's just randomness involved, where you don't get to just decide I'm going to succeed at this and immediately get what you want, was challenging for you.
So
I think I felt more comfortable with the randomness relatively, and I was.
You are up for the practicing, you know.
Yeah, touche. But I did feel like I was sort of preparing all the way up to that phase, and that and by the time I got the news, it was like I got to experience this as a special moment, but also felt struck that, like, okay, I had really emotionally prepared pretty well for this, and then it was like, okay, now we're going. It was a special news, that's for sure.
Yeah, it was. So I was kind of testing early. We found out at 3 weeks that we were pregnant, and I think I had a history of endometriosis. I had ovarian cyst removed about 10 years ago. Before I met Chris, I went through the whole egg freezing process, and I had sort of made the assumption that getting pregnant could be a bit of a challenge. And so when we found out we were pregnant after 5 months, it was just so, I don't even have the words. It was just so exciting. It was such a joy to have that be something that was on the cards for us. And then it was kind of a tricky first few weeks. I got really terrible morning sickness, like towards the end of week 5, and obviously couldn't tell anyone at work that I was pregnant, and so was in meetings just kind of like trying to be emotionally warm and supportive to my team members, and really needing to throw up the whole time. But I messaged
Really
Chris.
been through it.
Yeah. But week 7, I messaged Chris saying, like, it has to be twins. That's the only explanation for how the morning sicknesses. So I
believed you.
Yeah.
I was like, it just felt almost right. Not so much certainty, but like, you just seemed like, yeah, wow, I really credit that we're gonna get twins. And I think having that confirmed, that was perhaps the most special.
that was amazing.
Was being in
Yeah.
the office with the ultrasound, and Jackie kind of having that excited moment herself of like, wow, you really do have twins.
Yeah, our obstetrician Jackie was we sort of came in and I was like, I just have the feeling it might be twins. She was like, yeah, everyone thinks that. And yeah, she started crying when she did the ultrasound, and we started crying,
and like see
getting to see them was incredible, and there's just so and it's they're already so different, and the way that they move around and the way that they kick, and even so we knew the one on the bottom was a boy really early on. I think it was week 10 or so that they told us that, but the one on the top, they couldn't tell us the gender probably until it was like week maybe like 17 or 18 that we found out, because she kept moving around. She kept like just crossing her legs or moving into an awkward position, and we would be doing an ultrasound and we'd just see her do a full like 360 flip. So it's really funny feeling like you can kind of see the differences in them already.
All right, so let's rewind and go back to the day before you joined Elite Introductions. Describe how your life has changed since then.
It's so much warmer. I think that's the dimension that feels like it's changed the most. Is Eliza has awakened my heart, essentially. Like, my I was very intellectually kind of like heavy. I mean, I still am relative to most people, but the transformation from that period, especially having spent like a year alone in COVID, just like meditating, continuously to kind of work through some of my own stuff. It was like a lot of cold, like, feeling alone, being kind of like just having to keep spending courage on, enduring when I was doing that sort of healing work. And now, and sort of as it's been a continuous sort of process, but it's just, life is so much warmer. I get to, have someone who I love, and now, there's more beings to love on the way, and it's just, it's a fuller, warmer life.
And it's just so beautiful.
So after this incredible journey, what advice would you give a single friend who was considering joining Elite Introductions?
I think just do it. I think life is so short, and for me, the reason that I chose to join Elite was I'd been given quite a generous bonus from the company I worked with. I wanted to do something for myself, and realized that there was nothing in my life that was more important than investing in the possibility of finding love and finding a partner. And I think if anyone is in the same place, it is a big expectation to have that skill set yourself, and being able to outsource something as important as finding the person you want to spend your life with is probably the best thing I've ever done in my life, and I would absolutely recommend it to anyone. And I would say, it's a little bit scary taking that leap, but I really feel like there is no chance I would have met Chris if I hadn't have gone through Elite. And I'm just really grateful to that version of myself for making that decision.
And what about you, Chris?
I think if you're already the sort of person who is contemplating this, it's like the sort of decision about relative trade-offs can easily become, a significant part of making a decision, like spending a substantial amount, I'm not sure the price will change, but is it's easy to evoke that rational style of like trade-off. And I think maybe what I advise is let the heart dimension be really a driver for a decision like this, because it's pretty easy to underestimate the significance of that for happiness in life compared to the monetary dimension that, the rational mind will understand more easily. So yeah, give more weight to your heart in making the decision. That's probably my advice.